And I thought one of the keys of the game, it seemed like, I mean, you completed 31 passes. I'm not sure 2 or 3 were actually contested catches. I mean, there were just guys open all day. What was working so well in your scheme that kept getting guys open all day like that?
I mean, our guys did a good job. We protected up front, and I had time to get the ball out. And again, it's credit to those guys and finding windows in their zone, and when it was man, executing their route. So it's my job to get them the ball, and they made it easy for me today.
Okay, thank you.
What is up, Bills Mafia? Big Jim here, back again to break down a massive win over Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. 7-2 Mafia, it feels like a dream. Sean McDermott and Josh Allen have never had a win like that, and while we still may not be getting the universal love of the national media, plenty of people are starting to put some respect on what this team is accomplishing. There's simply no denying it after Sunday. Before this game, Seattle was for many people the presumptive NFC Super Bowl representative, and Russell Wilson felt like he was running away with the MVP race. In an afternoon, that's all over. Sure, Wilson's absolutely still among the favorites for MVP, but Mahomes and Rodgers are right there with him now. And Josh is suddenly back in the conversation, as well as a handful of others. This was just a huge statement game for the franchise. It's what we were so hopeful for versus Kansas City a few weeks ago. It's the kind of game that makes you think they can beat Pittsburgh later in the year and try to push for the #1 seed. Even if they fall short of that, there's a big difference between a 2nd seed and a 4th seed. Maybe we're talking about a team that gets to host multiple playoff games this season. Alright, enough daydreaming for now. Let's look back at this past week a bit and see if we can find out how we were able to convincingly defeat an elite NFC opponent. Obviously, I'm going to be looking in depth at Josh's day, but I do want to take a moment to shout out the biggest surprise performer of the week, AJ Klein. He totaled 5 tackles, 2 sacks, a pass defense, and he recovered his own forced fumble on Russ. In 1 week, the man went from scapegoat to legend for Bills fans. He was heavily involved in our blitzing packages, and he excelled in that role. I hope to see them continue to be aggressive in their blitzing when Klein is on the field, and if they can be this successful in that scheme, it allows them to rest Matt Milano and get him back to 100% healthy, no matter how long that takes. But AJ wasn't alone. Tremaine Edmonds and the entire D-line played phenomenally. And while there were certainly lapses in the secondary, Trey White was also a critical playmaker in this game too. If our defense plays like this the rest of the way, we may not lose another game. But personally, I just can't see past 31 for 38, 415 yards, and 4 TDs from QB1. I really can't say enough about how efficient, accurate, and dominant Josh was in this game. And while Twitter may be quick to point out how bad the Seahawks defense has been, it doesn't change that Josh was near perfect. Not one quarterback has had that good of a game versus the Seahawks, so you have to put some respect on what he accomplished. And our defense has been struggling all year too. We had injuries, but Josh outdueled one of the game's best at their position. End of story. Let's start our film review late in the first quarter. It's 1st and 10 immediately after the Jordan Poyer interception. It's a play-action pass versus man coverage with a single high safety. And it shows off a lot of what Josh did well in this game. And it also told me definitively that John Brown is finally back to 100%. Allen drops back and the protection here is perfect. He's able to stand there and survey the field without anyone getting close to him. And he needs the time too. Diggs on an out route is the primary read here, but the coverage is too close, so he moves to Beasley in the slot and again covered. So he goes to his 3rd read Brown on the opposite side of the field, and he throws the ball with perfect timing as Brown breaks his curl route. Because of the timing on this throw being so perfect on his 3rd read, it really doesn't matter that the coverage was tight on Brown as well. He's able to cleanly make the grab and pick up 18 yards. I give a lot of credit to Brian Daboll here for drawing up this route combination that allows Josh to throw the ball at the perfect time for each of his receivers if they're open. Also to Josh for calmly reading the field and finding his best option before delivering the ball accurately and on time. Next, I want to look at a pair of Stephon Diggs completion that illustrate just how absurdly good this guy is at getting separation early in his routes. It's 1st and 10 midway through the second quarter. DJ Reed is in press man coverage versus Stephon, lined up just a yard off the ball. Diggs starts his crossing route and suddenly stops like he wants to break it back outside. It causes Reed to jump a bit, which leaves him flat-footed. Diggs accelerates away, leaving the corner in his dust, and has 7 or so yards of separation when the ball is thrown, and he gets around 15 yards after the catch to make it a 21-yard gain. The second Diggs play we're going to look at is the last play of the third quarter. It's 2nd and 8, and two-time Pro Bowler Jamal Adams is in coverage. Adams wants to jam Diggs at the line, but Stefan absorbs the contact with a little shoulder move, and he releases cleanly inside. Adams has to sprint full speed to catch Diggs, and Stefan exploits this to perfection. He slows a bit, and the moment that Adams gets even with him, he breaks back outside. When the ball arrives, there's no one anywhere near Stefan, and he's able to pick up 25 yards before he's pushed out of bounds. Diggs just outsmarted one of the best safeties in the league badly on this play. His athleticism and natural ability are obvious, but it's the little things and the mental aspect of his route running that set him apart and have him leading the NFL in targets, receptions, and receiving yards. As you may have noticed from previous videos, I like to throw in a missed opportunity into each one. Even in a 400-yard game, there's always room for improvement, and I think it's only fair to highlight that as well. The play this week features both Zach Moss and Motor on the field at the same time, and I am an absolute sucker for these formations. On this play though, Cody Ford gets beaten and Josh has to move around to avoid the pressure. Rasheem Green is able to catch up with Allen, and while trying to get the sack, Josh is able to find Singletary in the middle of the field. Motor's able to get 22 yards on his way out of bounds, and it's a solid play. But if we look at the overhead shot, we'll see John Brown all by himself at the bottom of the screen. He'd only have to win a 1v1 versus the safety who stands 10 yards back on the goal line, and he wins that battle more often than not with that much room to maneuver. If Cody'd been able to hold his block just a second longer, Josh would have had the time to find the open man. The drive ended in 7 points anyways though, so no harm, no foul. Let's round out the video with one more TD pass. The second one on the day to Tyler Kroft. It's 1st and goal at the 1, and we're in the big man formation. Not one of our wide receivers are on the field. Dawson Knox goes in motion, and after the play action, Josh rolls out to his left. Kroft releases wide to the outside and works back to the middle of the field. He's the third read on the play, but Knox and Gilliam are well covered. Kroft only has a step or two on the defender, but Josh recognizes the window, sets his feet, and delivers a fast ball into the back of the end zone. We've seen Josh miss on some of these throws when he doesn't set his feet. It's really difficult for a quarterback to make this throw when he's right-handed and moving to his left. So it's great to see him correct those mistakes and capitalize on the opportunity. Next up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals on the road at 4 p.m. And they present a lot more challenges as a team than just a road game at a weird time. Kyler Murray's 8th in the NFL in rushing yards. That's more than Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, and everyone on the Bills roster. He represents a unique challenge that you just can't duplicate in practice, so I'll be curious to see if we can keep our aggressive mindset with the pass rush, or if we try to spy him on defense. He's not alone either. Much like last week, Trey White has a brutal matchup facing off versus DeAndre Hopkins. And their defense has been far from elite, but they're a stiffer opponent than Seattle, that's for sure, ranking middle of the pack versus both the run and the pass. Josh is going to have to bring his A-game once again this week, but his shoulder is finally healthy, and more importantly, John Brown is ready to go. When Brown, Beasley, and Diggs are all at 100%, I don't think there's a secondary in football that can contain our offense for a full 60 minutes. With weather a non-factor, this will once again require a full team performance, but I think we can ride the confidence the Seahawks game gave us to another win. That wraps up this week. I hope you're all enjoying this 2020 season as much as I am thus far. On the back of this epic win, let me know in the comments what you think our final record will be by the end of the year. If you like this video, hit the like button. To see more, hit subscribe and ring the bell to get notified when my videos go live. Let's kill the Cardinals.